We built Nexus Innovations from nothing. Marcus, Liam, and I were more than partners, we were brothers. We shared every dream, every sacrifice. I poured my life into our venture, believing in our shared brotherhood and unwavering support. We watched it grow from a small idea into a multi-million-dollar empire. My trust in them was absolute, a foundation stronger than any steel beam. I believed we were invincible together. Nexus Innovations thrived. Our success was a testament to our collective vision. I led the technical innovations, always pushing boundaries. Marcus handled the finances, Liam the market strategy. We were a well-oiled machine, each piece essential. Our growth was exponential, our reputation solid. I felt immense pride in what we had achieved, a shared legacy built on loyalty and hard work. Lately, Marcus and Liam pushed for more aggressive market plays. They wanted faster growth, bigger risks. I questioned some of their methods, the edge they seemed to embrace. It felt different from our original ethos. But for unity, for the brotherhood, I always supported their final decisions. I trusted their judgment, believing we were all working towards the same goal, our shared future. Then came the notice, an unexpected audit. Marcus and Liam brushed it off, called it routine, a formality of rapid growth. Nothing to worry about, Ethan, they'd said, their smiles reassuring. But a subtle tremor of unease started in my gut. It was an odd time for an audit, given our recent expansion. Still, I pushed the thought away, trusting them. A few days later, an unfamiliar number called. It was a lawyer talking about preliminary inquiries and a formal summons. He wouldn't elaborate, just said my name came up. My heart beat a little faster. This wasn't routine. This felt like something else entirely. I tried to reach Marcus and Liam, but their phones went straight to voicemail. The first chill of doubt truly settled in. They finally called me back, sounding calm, almost too calm. They downplayed everything, blamed system quirks or overzealous regulators. Just a misunderstanding, Ethan, Marcus assured me, we'll handle it. Liam nodded, his gaze steady. They subtly shifted responsibility, hinting it was just bad luck. I nodded along, but inside my mind raced. Something felt wrong, deeply wrong. I started digging. I pulled up recent financial reports, ones they had assured me were fine, minor clerical errors at most. But as I looked closer, the minor errors became glaring discrepancies. Missing funds, inflated invoices, shell companies. My name was on some of the digital approvals. A cold dread began to form. They had told me these were minor, easily fixed. The critical meeting was called suddenly. I walked in expecting to discuss the audit. Instead, I was blindsided, accusations of massive fraud, embezzlement. The evidence, meticulously laid out, pointed directly to my digital footprint, my access logs, my supposed approvals. My own friends, Marcus and Liam, sat there looking grave. I felt a punch to my gut. This was a setup. The federal agents arrived swiftly, dramatically. They walked straight to my office, bypassing everyone else. The handcuffs clicked, cold and final. I was led out through the bustling office. Past shocked faces, past the flashing cameras of news crews already gathered outside. Marcus and Liam stood by, appearing stunned yet conspicuously uninterrogated. Their eyes met mine for a fleeting second. In the back of the police car, the world outside was a blur of flashing lights and shouts. News channels on a tiny screen in the front seat showed my face, my arrest, the condemnation. It was soul-crushing. Marcus and Liam, they had avoided my eyes. The horrific truth began to crystallize. This wasn't an accident. This was deliberate. My brothers had engineered my complete ruin. My life, my empire snatched away. The cold steel of the cell door clicked shut. The smell of disinfectant and despair filled the air. I sat on the narrow bunk, the reality of my arrest sinking in. White-collar crime charges. It felt like a bad dream, a cruel joke. My mind raced, trying to grasp how I ended up here. A small TV in the common area blared my name. News anchors spoke of corporate greed and betrayal of trust. My face, plastered across the screen, was now that of a ruthless criminal. My reputation, built over years, shattered in a single night. The world outside saw a monster, not me. My first meeting with the public defender was brief, grim. He spoke of mounting evidence, insider testimony. Marcus and Liam's names came up. They had already given statements. He said statements that sealed my fate. The word treachery echoed in my head. A letter arrived, official and cold, all my assets frozen, every bank account, every investment, legal fees piled up before I even had a chance to fight. My life savings gone, they had ensured I would have nothing left, not even the means to defend myself. This was a calculated move. I tried to call them Marcus, Liam, again and again. The calls went straight to voicemail, or were met with a curt number not in service. My messages unanswered, the last sliver of hope that this was some grand misunderstanding evaporated. They were gone. It hit me then, a physical blow to the chest. This wasn't bad luck. This wasn't a mistake. My brothers, the men I trusted with my life, had planned this. Every step, they had built this trap for me. The realization was soul-crushing, worse than any prison bar. Despair gave way to a cold, burning rage. Why? Why would they do this? I had given them everything. The question clawed at my mind. I needed answers. I needed to understand the depth of their monstrous act. My focus shifted from how to why. I started replaying every memory, every meeting, every casual conversation. Their subtle glances, their forced smiles, the moments I had dismissed as minor. The cracks in their facade were always there. I just hadn't seen them, blinded by my loyalty. Then a call came through. Marcus. His voice calm, almost bored. "Accept your fate, Ethan," he said. "It's over." The line went dead. No anger, no remorse, just a chilling finality. His words were a confirmation, a deliberate twist of the knife. I hung up the phone, my hand trembling not from fear, but from a new, fierce resolve. They wanted me to accept my fate. I wouldn't. From this cell, I vowed to clear my name, and then I would make them pay. For every moment of suffering, for every stolen dream. Prison life had its own rhythm. I learned to watch, to listen. Every guard, every inmate, every shift in the air. This place was a cage, but it was also a new school. I used my mind to adapt, to find patterns. My intellect was my only weapon here, and I intended to sharpen it. I started from the beginning, every meeting, every email, every casual word. I drew timelines in my head, connecting the dots of their betrayal. When did it start? When did the seeds of their greed truly take root? I found moments I had dismissed before, now chillingly clear. Then a subtle sign, a coded message in a visitor's magazine, something only a loyal former employee would know. It was brief, a single word, but it confirmed my suspicion. Someone on the outside still believed in me, or at least doubted the official story. A small flicker of light. My legal team was overwhelmed. The evidence against me seemed ironclad, meticulously fabricated. My lawyer, a tired man named Mr. Davies, advised a plea deal. "It's your best option, Ethan," he'd said. I looked him in the eye. "No, I am innocent. We fight." I reviewed the prosecution's evidence page by page. I saw their cunning. Digital footprints, altered timestamps, manipulated company records. They had spent months, maybe years, weaving this web. They knew my habits, my systems. It was a masterpiece of technical deceit. But a visionary sees things others miss. I found a flaw. A specific, obscure regulatory loophole tied to an old piece of internal code. Only I, the architect, knew its true purpose, its hidden vulnerability. It was a tiny thread, but enough to unravel their entire scheme. A new coded message arrived, more direct this time. It mentioned a name, an external player I hadn't considered, not just Marcus and Liam. The conspiracy was wider, deeper. My two friends were just pawns, or perhaps junior partners in a larger game. I began to formulate my counter-strategy. I used the legal process itself as a weapon. I instructed Mr. Davies to demand specific documents, obscure financial reports, and old server logs, things they wouldn't expect me to remember, things they thought were buried deep. The first sign of sabotage came swiftly. A key document I requested was missing. Another corrupted. They were actively working to block my defense, confirming their fear. They knew I was digging. This wasn't just about my freedom now, it was about their absolute control. In the shadows of my cell, my plan took shape, not just to clear my name, but to expose them, to tear down their fabricated narrative piece by agonizing piece. I would use their own methods against them. They wanted to bury me. I would rise and bring their entire world crashing down. The game had just begun. My legal battles were a slow grind. We faced setbacks, dismissed motions, and stone walls. But I kept pushing Mr. Davies, my lawyer. "Look at this detail," I would insist, pointing to a specific date or a minor transaction. I knew my company's financial system better than anyone. Slowly, painstakingly, we started to unearth tiny discrepancies overlooked by the prosecution. Small victories, but they were victories nonetheless. I remembered Alex, a junior analyst. He was quiet, meticulous. He handled the smaller data transfers, the ones no one paid much attention to. I recalled a specific project, a data migration I had overseen. Alex would have seen everything, the raw, unfiltered data before it was cleaned. He might not even know what he held, but I knew it was a piece of my puzzle. My sister visited. Her face was etched with worry, but her eyes held a flicker of my own resolve. I spoke calmly, explaining everything. The depth of the betrayal. She listened, her gaze steady. I need your help, I told her. You are my eyes and ears outside. She nodded, a silent promise. Her belief in me was a lifeline. Communicating securely was critical. I developed a system, a series of prearranged codes hidden in plain sight. A phrase in a letter, a specific book title mentioned during a visit, even the way I tied my shoelaces. Small, innocuous details that, when combined, formed a complex message. It was slow, but it circumvented monitoring. They thought they had me isolated. Through my sister and Mr. Davies, I started seeing patterns. Offshore accounts, shell companies I didn't recognize. The declared income of Marcus and Liam didn't align with the sudden influx of wealth I knew they were experiencing. They were siphoning funds not just from Nexus, but from other sources, using the chaos of my arrest as cover. Their greed ran deeper than I imagined. There were moments late at night when the weight of it all threatened to crush me. The injustice, the loss, the sheer audacity of their betrayal. Despair was a heavy cloak. But then I would close my eyes and see Nexus Innovations, the empire we built. Not just the money, but the vision, the future I had planned. That vision, stolen from me, reignited a cold fire. I would not break. It became clear then, their goal wasn't just wealth. It was absolute control. I was the visionary, the one who saw beyond the immediate profit, the one who sometimes pushed back. By eliminating me, they removed the only obstacle to their ruthless ambition. They didn't just want my share, they wanted my mind, my leadership gone. They wanted the throne for themselves. I began to guide my sister. Old company backups, internal communications, server logs, things they thought were purged or inaccessible. I knew the hidden pathways. The overlooked archives. It was a long shot, a digital needle in a haystack, but I knew where to tell her to look. This was my domain, and even from behind bars, I could still navigate its depths. Then came the breakthrough, a seemingly innocuous piece of information. A specific software version, an old network protocol I had implemented years ago. It was a tiny detail, but it exposed a crucial flaw in their elaborate frame. A backdoor they had overlooked. A digital fingerprint they couldn't erase. My unique understanding of Nexus systems made the connection instantly. I sent a subtle, untraceable message to the outside, a ghost in their machine. It was just a single, almost imperceptible data packet, but it carried a hidden command. A signal. My counter-strike had begun. They had tried to bury me, but I was rising, and they would soon learn I was coming for everything they stole. Mr. Davies looked less tired today. He held a legal pad, his pen tapping lightly. Ethan, the judge, granted our motion to compel discovery on the old server logs. It's a long shot, but it's a win. My strategy was working. Each small victory was a crack in their seemingly impenetrable wall. They thought they had buried every trace. Then the first tremor hit. A news report on the Common Room TV spoke of an anonymous data leak from Nexus Innovations. It hinted at financial irregularities beyond my supposed crimes. Marcus and Liam's names were mentioned, not as victims, but as subjects of further inquiry. My ghost in their machine was doing its work. The news reports showed their reactions. Marcus, usually so composed, snapped at a reporter. Liam, always the smooth talker, looked visibly strained during a press conference. Their carefully constructed masks were slipping. Panic was setting in. They were making mistakes, showing their true colors to the world. During a procedural hearing, I subtly guided Mr. Davies. Demand the full unredacted audit report from 2021, specifically Section 3B2. It was a technicality, something they wouldn't think twice about. But that section contained a reference to a specific data format, one only I knew how to fully decrypt. It would force a key piece of information into public record. A few days later, a new face appeared on the news. A renowned investigative journalist known for exposing corporate corruption. She was asking questions about Nexus, questions no one else dared to. My carefully placed breadcrumbs were leading the right people to the truth. The tide was turning slowly but surely. I got a call, an unknown number. I answered. It was Marcus. Ethan, just accept it. You're done. His voice was strained, no longer calm. Am I Marcus? I asked, my voice flat. Or are you just scared that I know about the offshore accounts and the third party? A long silence. Then he hung up. The fear was real. Public opinion, once a raging torrent against me, began to eddy. Social media posts, news comments, they started whispering what if. Doubts about the official narrative spread like wildfire. The initial condemnation was replaced by questions, by a hunger for the true culprits. Another coded message arrived. This time, it wasn't just a name, it was a company, a shadowy investment firm I'd never heard of, linked to a network of shell corporations. They were the external player, the puppet masters. This wasn't just Marcus and Liam's greed. This was a deeper, more professional conspiracy. My betrayal was more widespread than I'd imagined. My sister followed my instructions, digging through old encrypted archives. Then a message found it, a recorded conference call unlisted, from months before your arrest. It was a full confession, Marcus and Liam discussing the Ethan problem with the external players, detailing the frame, irrefutable proof. They thought it was erased. They were wrong. The next court hearing was tense. The prosecution was confident. Then Mr. Davies, at my subtle cue, introduced a last-minute piece of evidence, the decrypted audio file. The courtroom erupted. The prosecution's case, once solid, disintegrated into chaos. The judge called for an immediate recess. My imminent release was no longer a hope, it was a certainty. The game was far from over. The heavy gates swung open. Fresh air hit my face, cold and real. A guard nodded, a quiet acknowledgement. I was free. The world outside looked different, but my resolve was sharper than ever. My time behind bars was over, but my mission was not. Cameras flashed. Reporters shouted questions. The air buzzed with their apologies. Their new narrative: I was a victim, a hero. The same faces that condemned me now sang my praises. Their words meant nothing. My focus remained on the true culprits. My first steps outside were a mix of profound relief and chilling purpose. Relief for the freedom, purpose for the revenge. Every breath was a reminder of what they stole. The world was mine again, and I would make them pay for every moment I lost. My path was clear. News channels now showed Marcus and Liam. Their faces were drawn, their smiles gone. Investigations swirled around them. Their empire, once untouchable, was crumbling. They were getting a taste of the public scorn I endured. It was just the beginning of their downfall, a small taste of their own medicine. I sat in a quiet room, a laptop before me. Nexus Innovations, my creation. I knew every line of code, every hidden file. I began to pull at the threads of their lies. Every manipulated document, every hidden transaction would be brought to light. I would expose their intricate deceit. I gave my first interview. Calm, composed, I spoke of truth, of justice. I strategically dropped hints, pieces of information that would lead the public and the authorities to the right places. The media was now my weapon, a megaphone for their undoing. I controlled the narrative now, new charges, embezzlement, fraud. The legal system, once their tool, now turned against them. My meticulous groundwork paid off. Subpoenas flew, arrests loomed. They were trapped in the same legal labyrinth they built for me. The irony was sweet but fleeting. My name was clear, my reputation restored. But the financial battle for Nexus, for my stolen assets, was a new war. They still held the company. This was not about clearing my name anymore. It was about reclaiming my legacy, my life's work. The fight moved to the boardrooms. I released a public statement, no anger, no threats, just a cold, calculated resolve. This is not an end, but a beginning, I wrote. Your reckoning has just truly started. They would read it. They would understand the true weight of my words. It was a promise, not a warning. I stood before the empty shell of my old office, Nexus Innovations. It was a ruin, a monument to their greed, but I was not defeated. A chilling calm settled over me. I had everything I needed. The final, devastating blow was ready. Their world was about to shatter. The rubble of Nexus was not an end, but a new beginning. My legal team, now fully aligned, launched the first wave. We targeted their illicit financial structures, the very arteries of their stolen wealth. This wasn't just about justice, it was about financial strangulation. I wanted them to feel the squeeze, to watch their ill-gotten gains evaporate. My planning was precise. Every move calculated for maximum impact. They would learn what true strategic warfare felt like. The forensic audits I initiated revealed layers of hidden transactions, shell companies within shell companies. The data was undeniable, a meticulous trail of their greed. Investor confidence evaporated not just in Nexus, but in every venture Marcus and Liam touched. The market reacted swiftly, ruthlessly. News of their unethical practices spread like wildfire. Fueled by the evidence I systematically leaked, their carefully constructed house of cards began to sway. The stock price of Nexus Innovations plummeted, a freefall that wiped out billions in market value. News channels reported mass investor panic, legal actions from furious shareholders. The empire they stole was now a toxic asset, collapsing under the weight of their own corruption. It was a beautiful sight, watching their grand design unravel before the world's eyes. The public condemnation grew louder, mirroring the whispers I had once endured. Then came the arrests. Marcus, defiant but pale, was led away from his opulent penthouse. Liam, trying to maintain his usual smooth charm, was cuffed in front of his distraught family. The public spectacle was a precise, devastating echo of my own humiliation. They finally knew what it felt like to be publicly shamed, to have their freedom stripped away. The media, once their ally, now savored their downfall, a true reckoning. My legal team, leveraging the company's plummeting value and their desperate need for liquidity, initiated a strategic buyback. We acquired majority shares for a fraction of their original worth. The irony was exquisite. I was reclaiming my empire piece by agonizing piece, using their own ruin as leverage. The company that had been stolen from me was now mine again, legally and undeniably. The control I once had was now absolute. I stood before the press calm and resolute. They did not just steal a company, I stated, my voice clear and unwavering. They stole my life, my trust, my future. I detailed their betrayal, the calculated precision of their deceit, the intricate web of lies. Their names, once revered, were now synonymous with treachery and greed. The truth, finally unveiled, set me free, and it would bury them completely. Their trials were swift. The evidence I provided was irrefutable, leaving no room for doubt. Marcus and Liam were stripped of everything, their wealth, their freedom, their names. The public watched, captivated, as their carefully constructed lives dissolved into nothing. The empire they had built on lies and betrayal was now an empty shell, a monument to their insatiable greed. The once mighty Nexus Innovations was no more. I did not rebuild Nexus in its original form. I built something new, something stronger, founded on integrity and true innovation. A smaller, more agile company focused on the principles Marcus and Liam had abandoned. It was a phoenix rising from the ashes of betrayal, carrying my true legacy forward. This new venture was a testament to resilience, a symbol that even from the depths of ruin one could create something greater. The cost of vengeance was immense. The scars of betrayal ran deep, a permanent reminder of the darkness within men. Trust, once a given, was now a fragile, earned privilege. I had emerged from the abyss not broken but forged anew. The calm resolve remained unyielding, but the innocence was gone forever. I had won, but victory came with a profound understanding of humanity's darker side. It was a bittersweet triumph. The media spoke of my triumph, my impossible comeback. I was a symbol of resilience, a testament to justice against overwhelming odds. I stood on the precipice of a new future. Vindicated, my name cleared, my legacy reclaimed. Marcus and Liam were a distant, ugly memory, their lives utterly destroyed. The battle was won, the war was over. The scars remained a part of me, but my strength was undeniable. I was still standing, stronger than ever.